I guess by now, you probably know we have our own primary clutch available, and I gave a few high points, if you will, on the introduction video on what makes it the best on the planet in our opinion. So I thought I'd go into a little more detail, talking about the faults of the OEM clutch and obviously some of the Chinese clutches and the corrections we made to fix that. And while we're on that, I already got a comment said, what does it do the OEM doesn't do? Well, it doesn't do anything. A clutch doesn't do anything until you put weights and springs in it. So the doing part is it just lasts, it works, it's reliable. That's the do, okay? So let's address issues and what we did to fix it. One thing I left out in our introduction video is cracking. Okay, so I have one of our clutches in pieces. And let me take this bearing off. All right, so right down in the bottom here of the OEM clutch, they'll sometimes come with a crack, develop a crack, etc. Why? Because the factory uses this oddball kind of threads, if you will, to install it. And so either the person, when they're putting it together, can put it too tight, put it under stress right there, or simply driving it, mostly decel, trying to tighten it, and it just continues to tighten up, and it can develop a stress area crack. What we do, we don't use a thread, so we have a proprietary way of putting our fixed sheave onto our, we call it a post, center shaft, whatever you want to call it, so there's no tightening up, there's no movement of that. So problem solved. Okay, while we got this in our hands, we'll just go from the bottom up. Now, the next thing that's very, very common, I have to deal with every day, and actually this one's broke anyway, is the washers that go on each side of the bearing are very thin. We have a proprietary material we use, and I don't know if Hunter, when he edits it, can zoom in or not, but the answer is it's twice as thick. Okay, so twice thick washer, twice as tough. We didn't stop there. I wanted some protection for this washer. So when we made our bearing, FYI, made right in the United States, has, what's the heck, I forget Viton seals in it. And while we're on the bearing, it has our proprietary lube in it. Still don't talk about what it is, but when you see it on a website for sale, this is where it comes from. Anyway, so bearings, best you can buy. And what we did is it has a recess in it. And that way it'll shroud the washer. And I'll demonstrate. Once again, I get Hunter to zoom in on here. So we'll put our thick washer on, and when we slide our bearing on, watch that washer disappear. All right, so we're giving it some protection. All right, now as we continue to move up our clutch, of course we have a spacer, but that's not the part I wanted to talk to you about is spider nut spiders backing off is crazy common on the primary clutch, the OEM primary clutch, because they have right-hand threads on the spider, and there's a spider nut that uses the same threads. It's also right-hand. Now they do put Loctite on it, but due to vibrations, heat, constant back and forth motion, slowing down, speeding up, they both work out. Now as you go, hey, mine's tight. No, sir, it's tight in the wrong place because, and here's actually our spider nut, I believe, but they'll be tight, but they'll turn, see, and they'll work their way out, and then your two halves further apart, belt starts slipping, etc. So you zoom in here and see right-hand threads for the spider, left-hand threads for the spider nut. All right. Also, our spider nut is not a powdered metal. It's a machine piece with real sharp edges, so that in the event that we ever have to go in it for any reason, the spider nut tool that's presently available for Polaris also fits this. Okay, but crossing our fingers, you never have to go in it. So we fixed that. Spider buttons. Okay, this is a biggie to me. Is wear in the tower section. Right inside here. All right, plus that's where a lot of the noise at low RPM comes from, and then as these clutch age, there's more gap here and there's get a little more clatter. So once again, we used a proprietary material and put like a rubber backer onto the button when it goes in the spider. And so it has kind of a press fit, if you will, a little tighter fit, but it's not tight. And so it rides in there, wears less on our towers, and provides a quiet operation, especially at low RPM. Let's see what we got. I have to look. The next thing is what we make our clutch out of, the aluminum, the grade of aluminum. This is 390 and the stock is 380 cast. So it's a harder grade of aluminum. What does that mean to you? Longer life, less wear on the surface with a harder material. Of course, I know some of the billet clutches are popular. However, billet is actually much softer than any cast aluminum is, so they wear faster. Of course, my argument on the billet style clutches is you're married to them, you got to use their weights, their whatever. Okay, and while we're on that, our clutch needs nothing, no special weights, nothing. Uses stock weight, stock spring, hopefully Dalton clutch kit from us, etc. You pick what you want to put in it, it works with it. All right, I already told you about the Viton seals and the bearings. Oh, rollers and the spider, okay? Long life rollers. All right, the company that makes this is Hilliard Corporation. They also make the Dura clutch that we've been selling since about, 2014. I've had one customer in that time, and we sell 2 to 10 a day of those. One person had rollers go bad, and he had a Ranger 570 with 20,000 miles. I said, I either want those rollers or what they're made of. You make mine just the same. So we expect high mileage out of our rollers because the stock ones fail pretty regular and eat up fly weights. The next part is our cover bushing. It's a flanged bushing that come in from the rear, and you don't have to worry about it coming out. It can't come out because it's flanged on the rear. And what we did, I don't think I have one on my table here, but on top of our spider nut, we put a stainless steel washer on top so that when it comes down to meet it, then you don't have to worry about spider nut eating up the back of the bushing. It's a cushion. And speaking of that, okay, so is that belt travel has been an issue for not just Polaris 1000 clutches. It seems to affect several models. They can't seem to get belt travel right. Belt travel is how far belt moves up and down in a clutch, up and down the secondary clutch. And I'm not sure why they can't get it right, but if you're familiar with the standard washer that we have for OEM clutches to replace the one in there to get it right, well, we knew this problem, so guess what we did? We fixed it the first time. It was painstakingly, by the way, to get it absolutely correct, but we got it correct. There'll be no special washers that you'll add, nothing. It's ready to go. Belt-wise, I think I covered this. No special belt, nothing. All right, now, there is one washer situation that you need to be aware of with our primary clutch, and that's when you use the thick belt. When you use a thick belt, it's purposely shorter, purposely wider to accomplish a goal for low-speed riders. And if you don't put any kind of washer in, it will over travel, hit the inside of the secondary clutch, tear teeth out. All right, so in our OEM, the thick belt came with a thick washer, and you took your washer out of your primary, put it in. Now with the Hunterworks one, when you buy a thick belt, you'll see a choice. Do you have an OEM primary or a Hunterworks? If you have a Hunterworks, you're gonna get a 62 thousandths of an inch stainless steel washer, and you just simply take your top off, slide it right on top of the other one. So hopefully you can see that we have addressed every single shortcoming there is to any of these clutches, really, not just OEM, but to any of them. And that's why it took us, and that's why it's taken us 2 years to get this done. And I mentioned in another video, approximately $250,000 for this one clutch. So it's a huge investment, but we invested it for you so that you have what we consider the best on the planet. And lastly, I will say my favorite part is it's 100% made in the United States by American workers, sold in the United States. So hopefully I've covered every single detail in detail of the new clutch. And if you've made it this far in the video, I appreciate you guys so much supporting us over the years, because it allows us to do things like this to give you a better product. All right, guys, got any questions? Todd at hunterworks.com. Appreciate you.